Hey everyone, it's Argonath here from The Right Way, and some more news on the vaccination pass system that's just been brought out in New Zealand. Probably more applicable to people in New Zealand, but if you're not from New Zealand and you're interested in how inept this government that's running New Zealand is, then feel free to watch as well. Before we start, don't forget, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, you're welcome to give it a thumbs down. And if you like my content, please subscribe as well. And if you feel like sharing to your friends or things or people that you know, that would be awesome as well. And there is also a link in the About tab of this video to my other channel, which is on pop culture, called Return of the Fan. So feel free to check out that channel as well. So in this article, it's black market sales of vaccination passes reported to police. Why are there black market sales of vaccination passes? Surely the government would have come up with a way where you wouldn't have to do this. So vaccine passes are being offered for sale on a social media platform for $10, with transactions being done in Bitcoin currency. One anonymous post offers $50 for passes and claims they are real. We pay dollars for vaccine passes and then we sell them to members of the public who need them, the post read. Since the vaccine passes are real, they'll be accepted at shops unless they require an ID check. The posts were spotted by a member of FACT Aotearoa, or FACT New Zealand, a group working against the spread of conspiracy theories and anti-vaccine activity, and reported to police on Monday morning. So in New Zealand, we basically get a vaccine pass, which has a QR code on it, on a bit of paper that you can print off and show to someone, or you can download the vaccine pass onto your phone. It doesn't have a photo associated with it. Apparently it's supposed to come up with your name and date of birth and so on. And then you could be optionally required to show some ID with you. So I guess you're really going to have to carry around ID with you everywhere you go, basically showing your passes to some sort of security guard at the entrance to all these shops to make sure that you comply with these draconian regulations. I mean, what's the point of having this system if it's so easy to circumvent? It's just ridiculous. My Vaccine Pass is the government's vaccine certification system. It's a QR code that can be shown digitally on printed paper, allowing venues to check whether a person has been vaccinated or not. Under the traffic light system, which is our new alert system that we're moving into, the passes will be needed to attend large festivals and many venues. Venues that use the passes will be able to operate more freely, even when there is COVID-19 in the community. An amendment to the Response Act legislation bill makes the buying and selling of vaccine certificate a criminal offence with penalties of up to 6 months in prison and up to $12,000 in fines. Looks like that hasn't had any effect on people. And already the government has said that you only need to cite a pass. Businesses only need to cite the vaccine pass. They don't actually need to scan it. Then what's the whole point of coming up with the friggin' QR code then? Jacinda Ardern? You are totally inept, right? What's the point of having this vaccine pass system if you're telling businesses, oh, you don't actually need to use the Verifier app to verify a vaccine pass, you can just cite it. This utterly ridiculous information to give out, where the Ministry of Health says you must scan every vaccine pass. So which one is it? Is the Ministry of Health correct? Or is the Prime Minister of New Zealand correct? It's just ridiculous. A police spokeswoman said complaints regarding the misuse fraudulent use of vaccine passes were dealt with on a case-by-case basis. Michael Dreyer, manager of National Digital Services at the Ministry of Health, said fraudulent use or misuse of vaccine passes will be taken very seriously and will not be tolerated. Well, you have to actually catch these people first, right? Police will be able to enforce legitimate use of the My Vaccine Pass and can ask to check that a person's ID matches their pass or do spot checks at venues. So does that mean that police have to hang around some sort of venue just so they can check people's vaccine passes when they should be doing better things like reducing crime in the community rather than doing this sort of rubbish? Dreyer said that those checking My Vaccine Passes could ask for photo ID to verify the pass was issued to the person using it. So now basically anyone can ask for your ID, not just a police person, right? Anyone can say, hey, show me your ID, show me your papers before I let you entry into this particular business. So basically anyone can find out your name, they can find out your birth date, maybe they could memorize it. Seems like a system which is destined to fail. Auckland University researcher Andrew Chen said efforts to use the pass fraudulently were not unexpected, particularly when the traffic light system came into force. I'm certain that it's happening elsewhere because it's so easy to do. Obviously, the government rushed the vaccine pass system because it hadn't thought ahead and put it into development long before it was actually needed. And they came up with a system that's got a bunch of gotchas in it, which means that it's not going to be particularly useful for what they want it to be. He said people who wanted to remain unvaccinated would be highly motivated to find a way to continue living their lives as they would. You wouldn't even need to pay for one. You could just borrow your friend's one, surely, and just hope that they're not checking for ID. The passes were not very fraud-proof, and the government's advice to businesses making use of a verification app optional was unfortunate. Of course, it basically breaks the COVID pass system. So here's some examples of what the COVID pass is. The issue with the passes is that anybody can make a copy and give it to anybody else. Businesses requiring proof of vaccination to enter could cite the pass only, Chen said. Now, I've got my vaccine pass. All I have to do is fill in the details on a website, and it sends it back to you as a PDF document. Well, do you know there's tons of PDF editors on the internet that you can actually use to modify a PDF? There doesn't seem to be any kind of watermark. There doesn't seem to be any kind of way of showing if a PDF has been edited or not. You can email that PDF to anybody else and they could use that PDF as long as you're both not going to the same venue. So there are many ways to get around this stupid system. In that case, anyone carrying anything that looks like a pass will be let in, so there is no fraud protection there whatsoever. Exactly. Chen said he expected many people using fake passes would get away with it, and this would create some degree of risk of COVID-19 transmission. Other more fraud-proof certification methods would require everyone to have a smartphone or would be much more expensive and take longer time to develop, Chen said. That's the thing. They didn't take their time to develop properly. They rushed the process. This inept government who cannot do anything botched the vaccine pass system. He believed businesses that were required to check for vaccine passes should have to use their verification app at the very least. Personally, I don't think we need vaccine passes in New Zealand because if you're vaccinated, you have nothing to fear from an unvaccinated person, do you? So what's the problem? He said that this would detect some people who are trying to use a completely fake pass with no real QR code and those who had changed the name on the pass. That would give everybody a lot more assurance at a lot less cost. A spokeswoman for the Restaurant Association of New Zealand said members had been advised by the government it was optional to verify vaccine passes, but there was an expectation a reasonable number would be verified. She said they were seeking more clarity on this. That's the thing with this government. They make these rules and then these extra things about the rules which are just so up in the air. What's a reasonable number? What's an expectation? Do you do it every day? Do you need to do it every couple of days? It's just ridiculous. Be specific about what you want people to do. This government is so wishy-washy. Checking photo was also optional, but its 2,500 members had been advised this would be done when there was suspicion the pass did not belong to the person using it or was fake. How would you know, right? I guess the only thing you could know is if some young person is using a passport for an old person, but if the ages are roughly the same and the name ethnicity is roughly the same, then you're not going to know at all. It just is going to be a disaster, and it's going to cause heaps of problems for people using this particular system. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think the vaccine pass system is a good idea, or it's a good idea but just ineptly implemented, or we don't need it at all? Because if we're all vaccinated, then we don't need to fear anyone who is not vaccinated, right? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Again, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, give it a thumbs down, and also subscribe and check out my other channel as well. Alright, hopefully I'll catch you in the next video.